Hello cable lovers, welcome to another Prysmian fibre optic how-to video. My name is Sandy Many. Today I'm going to show you how to fit an oval port sealing gland onto a FlexTube cable. Now if you wanted to loop a cable in and out of a Prysmian large modular joint without cutting the cable, you'd need to do it via the oval port. And you need to seal the cable at entry to the port using one of these kits. Now there are 6 kits in the range that cover cable diameters 6 to 18 millimeters in 2mm steps. Now we're going to use a 720 fibre cable for the demonstration, and it's got a nominal diameter of 16.5 millimeters. So we'll be using the largest kit in the range, which covers the cable diameters 16.1 to 18 millimeters. Anyway, what we'll do now is we'll head on out to the workshop and I'll just show you how to fit this gland kit onto the cable. The cable's already been broken out. We've done a mid-span access here to expose the fibre modules, and we've got the tags of Kevlar here that we will use to secure the cable into the gland. I've gathered together a few tools to help me. I've got some Kevlar scissors. I've got a torque wrench set at 3.5 Newton meters. I've got a nut spinner here that we'll use to tighten up the screws on these hose clamps. I've got a hex driver here and a pair of pliers. This is a 5mm ball-ended hex driver. It's the easiest to use. So one of the things we need to do, because the cable here is 16.5 millimeters in diameter, we need to break out these plastic parts from inside these plastic parts here, so that if the cable's over 13 millimeters in diameter, we just need to use a pair of pliers to break these parts out. And I've done that already just to save a bit of time. The cable's been marked here at 80 millimeters from the butt, and that's to help me align the gland when I fit it onto the cable. Now, it's important that we don't put any silicone grease on the outside here of this rubber seal, but we do need to put some onto the cable itself. And we don't need much, we just need a little bit here, just with your finger, just spread some on the sheath of the cable, and that just allows the gland to sit down properly onto the cable itself. Now, the seal is split, as you can see, so that we can then fit it over the cable. So it doesn't matter if this is a continuous length of cable, which it would be in practice, we can fit it over easily enough. So we just do that, like that. Then we need to take the 2 halves of the bottom part of the compression clamp that compresses this gland, this seal rather, to make a seal in the base of the joint closure. So these 2 halves go together like that, and then we can put these M6 screws through just to keep it in place like that. And then similarly, the top part of the compression plate is split as well, and we put those onto the cable, and then we can just screw these screws in to hold the whole gland together. Okay, now we don't want to do this up very tight, because if we do, we won't get it into the base of the joint closure. But we do need to put it roughly in place, and the correct place is that the back of this gland is aligning with these 80mm marks on the cable. So I've got that now, and I'm just going to lightly tighten this up just to hold it together, really, but without compressing the rubber seal. So that's okay now, that'll pretty well stay in position. And the other thing I did earlier, just to save a bit of time, was I've opened up these hose clips here so that they can just be slipped over the cable in readiness to be tightened in a moment. So a nut spinner is good to tighten these up. They just go over the back here, and in fact you can tighten these at this stage because it will keep this in place. And that's tight as well. And when we've finished the whole thing, we'll just put some black PVC tape, electrician's tape around there, just to protect the sharp edges. Okay, so now at this stage, this is ready to be inserted into the base of an LMJ closure. So it's a complete installation of the oval port gland into the base of an LMJ joint. I've mounted an LMJ in one of the Prysmian work stands here. And the port that we're interested in, you can see from the bottom here, is this oval port here. And it's got a blanking plug in, and I'm going to have to knock that out. So to knock that out, pretty simple tools, screwdriver and a mallet. And I've also got a round file on hand in case there's any burrs when I've finished it. So I'll just go ahead and knock that out now. Comes out pretty easily. Yeah, just like that. So now just feel around on the inside. Oh yes, there's a couple of burrs here. So I just got the round file. I'm just going to run it around here just to make sure that the burrs have gone and that the gland will go in easily. Okay, that should be all right now. All right, so that's nice and clean and burr free. So what we can then do is to take our cable and the gland that we prepared just now, and we can start to feed the cable through the base like this. Now we might need to make sure that the Kevlar is through so that we can anchor it on the inside of the closure. Okay. And there's another. So this will then just slide home quite easily. Now at this point is when we need to tighten up these two nuts here to compress the gland and seal it into the base. So to do that, I've got my 5mm screwdriver, a hex screwdriver, and I'm tightening the screws evenly on both sides, if you can see what I'm doing. Now we need to tighten these until we get to a torque of 3.5 Newton meters, which is actually quite hard with just a screwdriver type torque wrench. You can get a conventional lever type torque wrench placed like Bunnings quite cheaply that will go down to 3.5 Newton meters. So I'm getting close now, I think. So I'm just going to swap over and put the torque wrench on just to finish off. As I said before, I've already set this to 3.5 Newton meters. There's one, and there's the other. Okay, now we're just looking at the inside of the joint closure. We've got the two ends of the fibre modules here, and we've got the two tags of Kevlar here. So the first thing we want to do is to anchor off the Kevlar, and the way we recommend to do it is actually slightly different from the way that's shown in the instructions that come with the gland kit itself. And to do that, it's very convenient just to use a bit of fishing line, and the fishing line is fed up through the hole in this anchoring plate here, and then the Kevlar goes through the fishing line like this, and then we can use the fishing line just to pull the Kevlar back down through like that, and then we just do it again, and it makes a very secure way of securing the Kevlar into the gland, or into the base I should say, of the joint. So that's like that, and then we just use a screwdriver just to tighten down onto the Kevlar. Lovely and tight. So you can see these are nice and tight, and they really do secure the cable well and truly into the closure. So now the next stage is to remove the cover. I'll just adjust the camera again, a bit higher up. So we remove this cover here, and then we can access the storage cassette here. Okay, I've gone ahead now and I've actually just trimmed back the Kevlar so it doesn't get in the way. And I've pushed the fibre modules through this feature here that just retains them between the two clamps for the Kevlar. Then I've opened up the cassette and we're going to feed the fibre modules through this clip here, and that just retains the modules close to the hinge point and prevents overbending the modules when we open the cassette. So I'm just going to do that now, and then I'm just going to feed all of the fibre around and store it in the cassette. Obviously try and push the modules to the periphery of the cassette so it makes it neat. And I just need to put this bundle behind this clip as well. Which I've done. I'll push them back in there. And then maybe just a bit of tidying up here and there, just to make sure they look all right. And then this just slides back out of the way. Nice safe storage. And that really is as easy as that. It takes a little bit of time, but it's not difficult to do.